The city shimmered under the glow of twilight as sleek cars and bustling crowds painted a picture of relentless ambition. In a penthouse overlooking glittering skyscrapers, Alexander Reed, one of the country's most influential billionaires, prepared for an evening that promised boardroom strategies, world-class networking, and the cold luxury of high stakes. Yet, tonight would prove to be anything but ordinary. Alexander had meticulously planned this business dinner at the prestigious Meridian Banquet Hall. His table was set with gleaming silverware, crystal glasses reflecting soft candlelight, and a curated guest list of CEOs, investors, and dignitaries. Every detail of the event was designed to exude power and success. But amidst this display of affluence, one name would soon alter the course of the night: Elena. Elena had been Alexander's maid for many years, quiet, unassuming, and eternally diligent. Her gentle smile and kind eyes had gone largely unnoticed by the corporate titans who frequented Alexander's world. Her life was simple: rise early before dawn, tend to the sprawling mansion with an efficiency born of years of routine, and retreat into a modest room where dreams of a better life still glimmered like fragile hope. Alexander had always treated her with unexpected kindness despite the rigidity of his world, but tonight he surprised everyone by insisting she accompany him to the dinner as his guest. The invitation caused a ripple of whispered disbelief among the elite. How could a maid, in her plain attire and humble demeanor, possibly belong in the gilded circle of business magnates? Yet Alexander's eyes held a steadfast pride as he introduced her at the door, her head held high despite the murmurs. Within the grand hall, tension mingled with the clatter of fine china and the murmur of calculated conversations. Elena moved quietly at Alexander's side, her presence a silent counterpoint to the boisterous chatter. Despite the glittering surroundings, an undercurrent of unease stirred among the guests, an intuitive sense that something remarkable was about to unfold. It wasn't long before the formal speeches began. Alexander's voice resonated as he extolled the virtues of ambition, innovation, and the responsibility of the wealthy. His eyes, however, repeatedly returned to Elena, who sat a few seats away, watching the proceedings with thoughtful intensity. Then, as a renowned investor at the table began boasting about his company's exponential profit margins and, with a careless tone, dismissing the struggles of the labor force, a palpable shift occurred. The investor's words, laden with callous disregard, echoed through the hall, drawing uncomfortable glances from those seated nearby. Before anyone could react, Elena stood up. The murmur of conversation dwindled to an expectant silence. At that precise moment, her voice, soft yet resolute, cut through the ambient chatter like a clear bell. "Please," she began, her tone carrying both a gentle tenderness and an unyielding determination, "don't you see that behind all these numbers and projected earnings lie the lives of real people? People who toil endlessly, whose dreams are as fragile as the dawn." A hush settled over the room as guests exchanged stunned looks. Alexander's heart pounded with mixed emotions: pride, apprehension, and a profound sadness for the injustice behind every corporate decision. Elena continued, now with a growing cadence of conviction. "I have seen the backbreaking labor, the late nights when hunger gnawed at my belly while I swept the corridors of mansions much like this one. I have experienced moments when hope seemed out of reach. Tonight, I ask you, the decision-makers, to remember that every profit you claim is built on the backs of those whose names remain unsung." Her words, charged with raw emotion, resonated deeply. Some in the crowd shifted uncomfortably, while others leaned forward, captivated by the truth in her voice. The investor's arrogant smile faltered, replaced by a dawning realization that had everyone reevaluating what truly mattered. Elena's sincerity exposed the stark contrast between the material extravagance of the room and the stark, often unseen realities outside these walls. As she spoke, Alexander observed a transformation among his esteemed guests. A few began to nod slowly as if acknowledging a long-repressed truth. Others fixed their eyes on Elena with newfound respect and empathy. In that charged moment, the room was no longer solely a hall of business elites. It had become a space for honest reckoning. The conversation shifted imperceptibly from profit margins and quarterly forecasts to the human cost of endless ambition. When Elena finally fell silent, the hall erupted into a hesitant applause, a soft, determined clapping that gradually swelled into a standing ovation. In that applause was the promise of change, a subtle yet powerful message that even the smallest voice could challenge the mightiest systems. The atmosphere was transformed from one of indifferent opulence to a beacon of collective compassion. After the dinner, as guests departed with thoughtful expressions and murmurs of admiration for the maid who had dared to speak her truth, Alexander found himself alone with Elena in the quiet corridors of the banquet hall. Under the glow of dimmed chandeliers, he approached her with tenderness and gratitude etched in every feature. "Elena," he whispered, "tonight you have changed everything. You reminded us that our power is not measured by wealth alone, but by the lives we uplift. Your courage has inspired me and many others to re-examine our values." Her eyes glistened with a mixture of relief and lingering uncertainty. "I didn't mean to embarrass anyone," she murmured. "I only wanted to show them that kindness and respect should be at the heart of every decision." Alexander nodded slowly, the weight of his own responsibilities and the injustices of his world evident in his steady gaze. "You've done more than that," he said softly. "You've given them and me a reason to change. Tonight will be remembered as the moment we choose to put humanity first." In the ensuing weeks, the dinner became a turning point not only for Alexander's company, but also for the entire business community. Reforms were introduced, a commitment to fair labor practices, transparent policies, and philanthropic ventures to aid those in need. The story of Elena's impassioned plea spread far beyond the glossy pages of business reports, touching countless hearts and igniting discussions about dignity, fairness, and the true value of human life. Elena, once defined only by her modest role, became a symbol of hope and resilience, a quiet rebel whose heartfelt words had dismantled towering barriers of indifference. She continued her work with unwavering dedication, but now she was also invited to speak at gatherings, sharing her own journey and inspiring others to stand up for what was right. Her transformation from an overlooked maid to a respected advocate for justice became a testament to the power of a single act of kindness, a testament that the simplest gestures can indeed spark monumental change. In quiet moments when the world seemed too busy to notice, Alexander would often reflect on the fateful night. The memory of Elena's bold stance, spoken in a moment of raw vulnerability amidst a glittering sea of corporate ambition, remained a guiding light in his heart. He realized that true leadership was not about commanding respect through wealth and status, but about earning it by embracing empathy and championing the underrepresented. As the business community gradually shifted its focus from profit to people, Elena's story continued to reverberate. Her determined act had not only reshaped boardroom policies, but had also woven the delicate threads of human connection into the fabric of a world once dominated by cold calculations. And in every board meeting, every investor call, and every whispered conversation about ethical reform, the legacy of that dinner lived on. The city, with its luminous skyline and relentless pulse, began to shine with the promise of change. In boardrooms that once echoed with ruthless ambition, now there were discussions of social responsibility and community support. And amid all this transformation, Elena's name stood as a beacon, a reminder that courage and kindness could defy even the most entrenched systems of power. In the end, the night when a billionaire took his maid to a business dinner was not defined by the extravagance of the event, but by the seismic shift it sparked in the hearts of those present. Elena's courageous act had left everyone shocked, in the most beautiful and transformative way possible. Her voice became a clarion call for a future where every person's dignity was honored, reminding us all that sometimes the greatest power lies not in the wealth we amass, but in the compassion we share. As the last echoes of that unforgettable evening faded into the annals of time, one thing remained clear. True change begins when we choose to listen to the voices that have long been silenced. And in that decision to embrace empathy, we may just find the strength to heal a world in desperate need of kindness.